booked pop acts prior to them being in the charts, or post them being in the charts.
That's as relevant.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I want to talk to you. Mainly, I want to talk to you about the monies that's involved as well. The revenue streams.
Okay.
You can say as much as little as you want in regards to that.
Okay.
But it's more the process that you would go through to get an act that that is about to be famous or is famous to play within a club environment.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. All right. Go for it.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I've started recording.
Oh, you started recording already. Okay. So, please, what is your name?
My name is Wayne Shires. Hi.
And Wayne, what do you do for a living?
Well, for the last 20 odd years or more, 25 years, I've. Want me to look at the camera or you?
Me.
All right. For the last 25 years, I've run nightclubs and held events in London and Paris and New York and Milan and Miami.
Okay, so within these club environments, you've booked a various amount of live acts of one sort or another.
Yeah, I mean, primarily I've run dance clubs, be it house music dance clubs or more alternative electro, indie dance clubs, or venue, club nights. But in all of those events, we have put on performers, PAs, live bands, etc.
Describe the process of a PA as a personal appearance, as opposed to a gig.
A PA, what I would consider a PA is a performer coming with a couple of dancers, a playback CD, minimum tech requirements, and coming in doing 3 songs and being a band performance would be full back line, full sound check, extra sound possibly being brought into the venue, extra costs, riders, etc., whatever, the whole shebang that goes with putting on a live band. And that could also, to that extent of putting on all that effort, they're not going to do 3 songs, they'll do a probably minimum of a 20 to, or no, yeah, maybe a 25 to 40 minute set.
Okay, so with that in mind, would you say that the longer they played for, it would cost you the more money, or the more technical demands, it would cost you more money necessarily?
The technical requirements obviously do cost more money.
Yeah.
Yes, they have, but sometimes it's kind of outbalanced. Sometimes playback has actually cost me, because they've been of a higher level of performer. That has been equally, or if not more expensive.
So in a circumstance where they're more famous, they have a bigger reputation. Would you say?
I could give you 2 comparisons. Let me give you 2 comparisons. While I was running a night called Substation, I had a performer called Ultranate who had big hits in the charts like Free and all those sort of things. She didn't come cheap. It wasn't expensive, but she wasn't cheap. But she came with a CD and required 2 dancers that I would provide, and there'd be an hour rehearsal, and she gave 3 songs brilliantly, all hits, and went off and got paid and was very polite, and everything was really cool. But then to the other extent, we put the Sister Sisters on when they were still very much a fledgling group in the UK. And we put them on in a full band capacity, which cost us a lot of money, but they cost us nothing.
Right.
It was for their exposure and for their kudos.
Okay.
So you can balance that. You can spend a lot of money on putting on a kind of an up and coming group, or you can spend a lot of money on someone who's famous.
Sure. Okay. So in terms of the revenue streams. What is it fundamentally about a live act within a club venue that is going to make you the most money, or in contrast is going to lose you the most money?
Well, the revenue streams. It depends. If you've got an act that you want to put on, and you know that the people that are either coming to the club or that possibly will come to the club are going to relate to that act, then you're going to have increased door revenue Therefore,
Where's the most of the money going to be made? Is it going to be made on the tickets? Is it going to be made on the
a
bar?
combination. A combination. Your numbers will go up, so there'll be a combination of door revenue, cloakroom revenue, bar revenue. Your revenue will go up from putting on someone that people want to see. A lot of the stuff that I've had to do, I've had to actually, like when I had Yoko Ono on, I couldn't tell people I had Yoko Ono on. It was a guerrilla, underground, word of mouth thing because basically Yoko Ono did it for love because she wanted to perform and Crash. She was advised, or that's another thing as well. It depends. It's when you have ins at record companies, and when people want to perform, they'll do it for nothing.
So it can be much about your own reputation.
Absolutely.
As someone running.
Oh no, totally. So if you've got the spot, the nightclub, the place that people want to be seen to be performing in, then you will get. You'll get Yoko Ono coming and doing 2 songs, which was the most amazing night of my life, and came in a big stretch limo, and I'm sure she wouldn't care. It cost me nothing. It cost me. She did it for love, and we had a great time.
Would you say that was one of your best memories in putting on a live act?
I mean, I think putting Yoko Ono, having Yoko Ono, and just having Yoko Ono in the venue and hanging out with her was, I mean, no, the Sister Sisters were a fledgling band. Myself and Jim Stanton, who we were running the Cock at the time, were big fans of theirs. They weren't signed at the time here. We had a white label of Comfortably Numb, their cover of Pink Floyd, and we played that at our club, and they got to hear about that, and they came to the UK and they were trying to get signed. And they did 1 gig for us at the Ghetto in Soho, and then by the time they were signed and had a bit of a reputation, I think had a #1 even, we got to get them again at Cock Live, and we got to advertise them that time. They came back a 3rd time as a kind of big thank you to us, but we couldn't actually announce who they were.
Right.
They performed
Did
with
that cost a lot of money?
The 3rd gig, because we had Pete Burns, and she always costs money. Pete Burns doesn't come cheap.
Yeah. Well, what's your most negative memory of putting a live band on in a club?
Ooh. My most negative memory of putting a live band on was putting a band on called Gob Sausage, who I put on as a support act to Mark Almond.
Right.
Mark Almond was headlining, and Gob Sausage were warming up, and Gob Sausage were very cool at the time, and very.
What year was this? Can you remember?
This was probably about 2004.
Okay.
And they were very cool, and me and Jim wanted to book them. They had a reputation for being very messy and very anarchistic on stage, and trashing and smashing, and a lot of fluids and stuff. And they were doing punk rock. They were being extremely shocking with the nature of their act.
They were the part and parcel support band that were
we had booked them as a support act.
Who recommended you as to book them?
I think me and Jim both decided we wanted to book them because we had heard of their reputation of being quite a thing.
Where did you hear of their reputation?
From they'd done smaller gigs in smaller clubs. So we put them on at a thing that we called Cock Live at the time, where we would always have three acts.
Yeah.
And I think Gob Sausage were the middle one. We had a warm-up band called the Dirty Monroes, I think, at the time, and Mark Almond was headlining. Now the only problem with that is that we had a lot of backline that was all set up for Mark Almond, and it was keyboards and computers and stuff. And I had a conversation with the guy, the lead singer of Gob Sausage, a guy called Martin, and I went, I know your reputation, I know what you're like. When you get on that stage, that's your equipment. Do not go anywhere near all that stuff on that right-hand side. Do not touch it, because you're going to screw up Mark's performance. And they did, and there was beer cans going everywhere, and they were trashing. They were kicking monitors off the stage. They were just trying to be shocking. And I, in the middle of their performance, went like that to the sound guy, cut their performance, and I made some comment about
So it was their recklessness as
their
performers.
recklessness as performers. I basically cut their performance mid-performance, got on the microphone and said, "You're not funny, you're not clever, you're not entertaining. Anyone can be, you know, you're out of work art students and you're crap. Now get off stage." And you know, and like I said, and coming up, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you have a true performer, Mr. Mark Alford, and everyone went woo. And we had an altercation in the dressing room afterwards with me and the lead singer, and he went, "I suppose you're not going to pay us," and I went, "No, of course we'll pay you. We booked you. We're professional. We'll pay you. You weren't professional." So that is my most negative one.
Okay, excellent. And last but not least, if you could put any act on you want in the world within reason that you could realistically put in one of your clubs, who would it be?
Oh gosh, anyone, alive or dead?
That doesn't matter. Alive or dead, doesn't matter.
Alive or dead? Alive or dead? Who would I like to put on? Who would I most like to see perform? I think in a really weird way, I'm a bit of a spoiled brat. I've kind of had all my heroes. I had Susie Sue, I've had Mark Almond, I've had Siobhan Fahey from Shakespeare's Sister, I've had Boy George, I've had Steve Strange, not literally. So, I mean, really, yeah, I guess someone that's difficult, because I think I've worked with practically I've worked with the Pet Shop Boys. I mean, I think I've worked.
Okay, so you've just opened a new club now. Within this environment, because environment is very consequential of how a different act may or may not work. Within your current environment.
Okay, in my current environment, we have we have quite a small club. We're only licensed to 300 people. We have a very small club. I suppose if you were to say, Wayne, what would you like for your Christmas party that you couldn't tell anyone you had? I think at this moment in time, I'd love a mini underground, no one knew about it, Lady Gaga show for 300 people only. Invite only, Wayne's Christmas party, and Lady Gaga doing 4 numbers, and then that'd be it. I suppose that would be what I'd like to do.
Thank you very, very much, Wayne.
You're welcome.